Hi, everybody. I am Jessica Koch, and this is Profound Professionals. And we are excited to share with you industry leaders and experts who are also doing something profound beyond their industry, but connected to the world. So we like to share about causes they care about and information that they are able to share and help you to better your world with. And today we have a lovely guest. Our guest today is Diana Lidstone. She works with coaches and consultants. They hire her when their business revenue seems to have hit the ceiling despite all their hard work. And she teaches them how to differentiate their business to explode their profits without working harder. Well, I don't know how many of you want to learn how to explode your profits without working harder, but sign me up. I am all about hearing that. So welcome, Diana, and thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. This is going to be fun.
For certain. Now, tell us a little bit more about you. We need to know what is your business? How did you get there? What made you decide to do this work less, earn more strategy? Share with us.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, I've been a business owner and an entrepreneur for more than 40 years. So you don't want me to go back all the 40 years, believe me. But I started my coaching business after having been in retail, owning my own retail store and learning all about, numbers and bottom line and inventory and how to handle employees and how to make a business really become profitable. And after we sold that, I kind of wandered a little bit. And a good friend of mine was wandering at the same time, and we had coffee. And she says, Diana, why don't you teach people how to, really build profitable businesses? Now, this is back in probably 2013. And I said, you mean people would pay me for that? And so I didn't know about coaching back then, but I started. And, I often tell the story about my very first client who was a financial advisor and who paid me the grand sum of $300 a month for private coaching. So things have evolved a little since then.
Yeah.
And about 2 years ago, my husband retired. And as he was approaching retirement, he kept saying to me, Diana, are you going to retire with me? And I went, no, I really love what I do. And I knew I had to kind of free up some time in my business. But I also felt, and perhaps some of your listeners can appreciate this, I really felt maybe it was my time to step up and to be the role of the primary income earner. And so I felt a little pressure about that, self-induced, of course.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's how Work Less, Earn More was born. Really, I took a really strategic look at my business. I let go of all the things that were not the highest revenue producing, focused on what was producing the most revenue. Which was my private coaching at the time. So I let go of group coaching, even though I didn't have a lot of private coaching clients, but I knew that that would come. And so it was a process of simplifying everything. And that's when I also came up with what I call the GROW equation. And this is sort of a framework that I use with my clients to teach them how to build what I call a well-oiled business machine that they can actually step away from and have unplugged vacations. So GROW is an acronym, and the G is for, it's all about getting known, differentiating their business, and then ultimately getting chosen as the undeniable authority in their industry, in their field. So, you've interviewed a lot of people, but there are a lot of coaches, consultants, and professional services firms out there who really are what I call sort of the unknown expert. They're really great at what they do, but nobody knows about them. So the G is about getting them known and getting them chosen. The R is about ramping up their profit. So taking what I learned from my retail days, my university courses in accounting, and talking about building a profit plan, not a revenue plan, because you and I both know that there's two different things, revenue
Mm-hmm.
and profit. So I talk about profits. So that's the R. The O is about optimizing their resources. And I use the word resources because it's not just about optimizing their systems and that sort of thing, but it's about optimizing them.
Mm-hmm.
They are a keen resource for their business. And too many business owners are not focusing on their strengths. They're not zeroing down to what their zone of genius is and spending their time in that zone of genius.
Mm-hmm.
So you take the G plus the R plus the O equals W, which is work less, earn more.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the framework that I use. And of course, depending on where someone is in their stage of business growth or where they want to go, this framework is a customizable framework. And so I've worked with, it could be a coach who's making or just about making six figures, or it could be a multi-million-dollar tech firm, but very often they have the same problems.
Mm-hmm.
They've hit that revenue ceiling, and they think, I'm just going to work harder. I'm just going to work harder.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work. You and I both know that.
No, lots of leveraging, I think, is key. Can you give us some things that someone could do or apply to their business today that help them get on the road to this beyond just scheduling an appointment with you? That's a good start, I'm sure. But is there something that you could share with them out of love and giving that you would share with them now to say, okay, if you take a look at these two things or three things and take these action steps, you're going to be better off for it.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for that opportunity. So, one of the things that I talk about lately is you don't need to be on social media to grow a profitable business. How many people have come to you, Jessica, or you've heard of that go, isn't social media mandatory? We got to be out there. We got to be on all these platforms. We got to be doing all this stuff. And it's not bringing them any joy, number one. It's not bringing them the clients that they want.
Mm-hmm.
And I go, if it's not, then stop. Period.
Yeah. Well, I have to disagree just a tiny bit, only because part of my business is social media. However, I agree with you where I tell them social media, I say it's kind of a necessary evil of the world at this point, where being present is important on some level and some level of consistency. However, it can be outsourced, and it can just be that, 2 or 3 posts a week and that one newsletter, or one, just simplify it and outsource it so that you're present, you're professional, but don't expect it to be where all of the revenue is coming from, because that isn't the case. Can social media bring in revenue? It can for some businesses, and it does work for some, but it shouldn't be your sole lead generator, in my opinion, unless you have thousands and thousands of spend in ads and all these other things, which I'm a big organic believer. I'm not a big
Me too.
believer in all of this other things. So I agree with you. Yes and no. I think a
Well,
little bit is kind of, you have to be there. If you're not there, they can't find you. And I think that's a big missed opportunity. So
I think and I'm going to disagree with you, but that's
that's
okay. And, so I could share an example of two companies that I've worked with. One was a multi-million-dollar tech firm. The other is a lawyer. Neither of these needed to be on social media to grow their business. And in fact, the lawyer who is currently a client, she keeps saying, Diana, shouldn't I be there? And I said, have you got a presence? Like, you've got a LinkedIn account? And she goes, yeah. I said, that's enough. Because she's already in hyper growth.
Well, then
And
we already agree, because I say if you're not there, they can't find you. Well, she's there and they can find her, right? She
But
has a
she's not
website,
using.
she's on LinkedIn, she's there. People can find her that way if they want to validate or verify her, because they maybe found her another way, or maybe someone just referred, or direct referral. People will still look you up, you
Yeah,
know. So
yeah,
I think we are agreeing actually without realizing it. So in our own way, we agree.
yeah. And I just, the way I work with my clients is because more and more I'm hearing people who don't want to be on social media.
Yeah.
And so I've come up with what I call a marketing sweet spot solution. And it really takes who they are as an individual and what their strengths are and how they best attract people. It then takes who their dream client is and where they are actually going to find them. And then the third
Hmm.
component is, what is that marketing tactic that is going to work best for them out of those three. So, I see a lot of business owners who are in this overwhelm, they're in this hustle, they're on the hamster wheel, and just, be okay that you don't have to be everywhere on social media.
I agree with that for sure. There's, I mean, hundreds of social media
Oh,
site options. I mean,
crazy.
people think it's Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, right? I'm like, and Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. I mean, literally there are hundreds. There's and Alignable, and there's just so many, and they all have, and Be Connected, and there's just all of these different social media spaces, and they all have their unique uses, and they all can be very used the correct way to leverage relationships and collaborations and business. But I agree with you 100%. You cannot be on all of them. And truthfully, I recommend to even the solopreneur and not that bigger business to outsource the majority of this, because for very reasonable cost, you can outsource most of your social media work, and whatever minimum or even the more elaborate things that need to be done, because we work with restaurants that want posts 7 days a week and sometimes 3 times a day, and that really works for them because they're
Yeah,
communicating to their community. It's very
yeah,
regional, it's part of their SEO boost, it's like all of the components. But should that restaurant owner and their staff, their paid employees, be doing that? No, outsource it, because it's so much more affordable, and having an employee is expensive. So
yeah.
what are you suggesting that is an actionable item that someone can do? You started to explain it, but I think maybe we could simplify it a little bit better. I was asking you to give the audience something that they could do that would help them right now. And you were talking about um, finding that place to find their customers, I think.
Yeah, well, what I like to do is to have them imagine, I guess it's really a vector diagram. So three circles.
Mm-hmm.
And if they can, imagine those three circles, one of those circles is who they are and what their strengths are. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
they're a speaker, maybe they're a podcaster, but,
Mm-hmm.
you know, imagine that circle. Then imagine the second circle as their dream client. So if their dream client maybe are, busy entrepreneurs,
Mm-hmm.
are those busy entrepreneurs going to be hanging out on Facebook? No, probably not. So they
Mm-hmm.
really need to know what the life of their dream client looks like. And the third element is they need to, after taking those two, they need to look at all the marketing tactics that are out there,
Mm-hmm.
whether it's social media, whether it's their website, whether it's email marketing, strategic alliances, we could
Mm-hmm.
name a million of them.
Right.
And then make sure that those three circles where they meet. So think about how it's serving you best, but also your dream client best.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think that's really helpful. So, really taking those three peak components in mind and building out their strategy. And I think that's really helpful for this time of year as we face, planning our goals, and, whether you're planning it for the month or for the quarter, the upcoming quarter, the new year, however you're managing that. This is a good action item that they can take, and I really appreciate that. One of the other reasons I just get a thrill out of featuring amazing people like you, Diana, is because you're making a difference in your industry and how you approach things for your clients and for them to be more successful. But you also have your mind and your heart on things that are greater and beyond you and your clients and that are affecting and touching the world. And your cause that we're going to share today is especially in line with that, as you're looking to help girls and empower and inspire other girls with the Girls Guides of Canada, and Canada / Ontario, but I'm guessing Canada in general, they have probably different girl guides for different parts of the country, possibly based on location or what have you. But share with us why this cause is special to you, and we will make sure that we get this featured in the comments of the different lives that we're running, and also in an article where we'll be featuring Diana and this interview itself and a full bio on her, so you can learn a little bit more about Diana. And we'll also be sharing more about the Girl Guides of Canada. But talk to us, why is this important to you?
Well, there's a couple of reasons. And Girl Guides of Canada is really about girls empowering other girls.
Mm-hmm.
And I started my business to help women entrepreneurs specifically
Mm-hmm.
gain the confidence, if you will, to, stand up, speak up, and to get paid what they're really worth. You and I both know that there are so many women entrepreneurs out there that are underpaid, shall we say. Not charging, they aren't confident enough to step into their own shoes and charge what they're really worth. So, my purpose really is around that, and empowering young girls to stand up and, be who they are. The second part of that is that I was a brownie back in my day. And as my daughter was growing up, one of the after school activities that she was involved in was Girl Guides. I was a Girl Guide leader. And I really and truly believe that exposure to their philosophy led to her. She is a real sustainability buff. Okay. So being out there in nature, treating nature as a precious resource, it was really reinforced through the girl guiding programs that she was involved. And so I credit that with that. So it's really, something that I was involved in for many, many years. And who knows, I might go back to it.
Yeah, awesome. That's beautiful. I love that. Well, since we have some extra special time with you as a special guest, I would love to also have you share with us a book that you suggest or had an impact on you, or you feel like is super valuable for our entrepreneurs as they look at their library of choice. I know I'm constantly building a book list of books I love, as well as books I want to read, and so on and so forth. So do you have a book for us?
I do. And, I'm in alignment with standing up and speaking out. I'm going to toot my own horn because I have my own book, which is called Shift into Rich.
Say it again, what's the name?
Shift into Rich, navigate the 9 roadblocks to small business success. And listeners can get a copy by going to my website, and there's a little tab that says gift, and you can download a copy there.
Great.
Yeah, and more recently, I've been following, you probably know this gentleman, Michael Hyatt. And this is Free to Focus, and it's all about how focus can actually give you freedom.
That's fascinating, because one of my favorite ones I recommend all the time is The Power of Focus by Jack Canfield. And what I'm reading with my book club right now is The One Thing. And, that's about focus too, just saying.
Yeah. I think I read The One Thing years ago, and I really and truly I follow that philosophy
Mhm.
in when I'm teaching marketing because
Mhm.
to me it's one thing, you know,
Well,
focus on one.
and that's impossible for the Italian mother of 7 that I am. I'm telling you, I really find this, I'm trying to apply a lot of the things, but, I'm always running 100 things in 100 directions and, and so the other books, though, I truly love are Systemology. I don't
Yep.
know I can't remember who it's by, but it's fantastic. And then the other one is Fix This Next. And he also does a couple of other books that I love. Fix This Next. He does, I think it's The Pumpkin Plan and
Oh,
Clockwork. And
the
who is,
Mikkel Michalowski
yeah,
or
I don't know the name.
Pumpkin Plan.
Somebody watching live, put it in the chat so
Yeah.
that put it in the comments so we know who it is. But those are some of, and I also love Mark Allen's Millionaire Course. And Jim Stangl did a book called Grow that you would love. The Grow book he was the past global marketing executive. I actually know him of Procter and Gamble, and I got to touch base and talk to him live on the phone. And he is it's one of my favorite all time books, Grow. They did a study of the top 50 companies, I want to say, globally, and what made them what were the recipe, the formula
Yeah.
to be that kind of top company. And I just found it incredibly fascinating. But Mark Allen does one called the Millionaire Course, and it's not really about being a millionaire, and it's profound. And I got 2 copies of it in hardback because I couldn't find it one year and I needed to read it again. It's one of the books I like to read at the beginning of the year to kind of reset myself, and
Yeah.
it always means something new every time I read it based on where I am in my life. But he also does an audio version that I've listened to at least 5 times, and he does it, and it's his voice, and so you get to listen to him, and it's like I feel like I know him. Like I reached out to him on LinkedIn and actually had conversations with him because he also writes songs, and it's a hobby I'm developing and trying to move into the universe that I'm going to
Your
publish
time.
and write a few songs. And so I've communicated that with him. But I mean, at the end of listening to his audiobook a few times, I truly felt like I know this guy. He's my friend. I know he's friends with me because you just have that close relationship feel when you get to listen to the author read your book to you, read the book to you. It's
And
really
I
cool.
think I've heard that from, I have a podcast called the Grow Equation Business Podcast. And um, people tell me the same thing. Oh, I've got you in my ear.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's a great way the audio is a great way to build that know, like, and trust. So yeah.
Yeah, I love that. This has been a beautiful time with you, Diana. I feel like I have been very blessed to meet and know you and share you with the world.
Thank you so
So that's been exciting. I always like to end this with, before we say goodbye, is there one last thing you'd like to leave everyone with?
I think the thing is that, when it comes to our businesses, a lot of business owners don't believe they have a choice in
Hmm.
how they build their business.
Hmm.
You have a choice.
Yeah.
You can say no, or you can say yes. There's no, you build it your way, is what I like to tell people. So
I
thank you.
love that. I love that. Thank you, everybody, for spending a little time with us, for hopefully throwing some comments in and sharing this interview and others with your community. So please feel free to share. And if you have a superpower, or you're an industry expertise or a subject matter expert in something exciting and would like to be a guest on Profound Professionals, or know someone that really should be here and share with us, please send them our way. I am Jessica Koch, and this is Profound Professionals. We want to say goodbye, everyone, and be kind to yourself and be kind to each other. All right, till next time. Thanks.